¿Qué pasa, mi amigos? It's Nima here, and today I want to talk about GANRYU 2, and I have to thank Pixelheart for sending me the reviewer code so I could check it out. Before we get into that, I do want to remind you guys to please hit that like and subscribe button. If you don't, I will call you every day. I will be worse than an ex. I'll just bug the living heck out of you. Anyway, GANRYU 2 is the sequel to the 1999 release GANRYU. Much like its predecessor, I would say this is also an arcade-style game, but it really built upon the original. And I did actually go back and play a ROM of the original. I don't want to admit that, but that was my only option to play. So in the sequel, you basically start where you left off. Miyamoto Musashi has just beaten Core-Zero, and Musashi decides that he wants to take it easy for a while, really reconnect with who he is, and get into art, essentially. So as he is trying to reconnect with his spirit, he's walking around the north part of Japan when he finds a place to meditate. And as Musashi's meditating, he's contacted by a spirit who lets him know that the fight with him and Core-Zero is not over. And in fact, it is an insult for what he did, and he will make Japan pay for it. Now at this point, Musashi knows he's got to travel all across Japan and to make things right and to finally, once and for all, beat Core-Zero, because as where he got the body, the spirit is apparently still alive and he must take it down. And that's where you start, and you control Musashi with a ton of different abilities and attack patterns. You also have projectiles like the kunais, but I would say your main weapon is the sword, the samurai sword. And you have a couple different abilities in which you can use. My favorite is the jump attack. You turn into like this ball of a sword, and it's so versatile, so useful for so many things. You also have a dash attack, which is like that classic samurai move, you know, where you just lift the samurai blade, and then in a blink of an eye, boom, you're across the screen, and massive damage has been dealt. You can also use that dash in platforming as well. And as far as platforming goes, you also have the ability to wall jump and double jump. So this game really gives you a lot of options, a lot of ways that you can use Musashi to get through this hellish journey that you are on. I say hellish because this game is brutally difficult. It is one of the most difficult games that I've played in quite a while, but for multiple reasons, and we will get into that. But first, I do want to talk about part of what makes the game difficult is the just diverse group of enemies and all the abilities that they have, which makes it very difficult to plan for. They can definitely catch you off guard. But the thing is, these levels are also pretty big. You kind of forget that though, because you're looking at this amazing pixel art, these amazing biomes, this beautiful world that the designers created, and everyone from the main character to the enemies to the bosses, they all just pop. Musashi specifically is incredibly detailed and vivid and bright. It just looks amazing in the game. And that great pixel art is accompanied by wonderful music. It really takes you right back into like the 80s, 90s, like arcade scene. I myself was never there, but I've seen enough things from the 80s. I know what's up. And it just really brings you into that world, and I don't know, it's very mesmerizing. You can really just envelop yourself in this game. Also, it has, much like the cart level in Donkey Kong Country, it's got its own version of a cart level, which I love, like the mine carts going through. I love those kind of things. That's a lot of the good things about the game. Talk a little bit about some bad things. And there's not much, okay? A couple of times I've had enemies kind of wander off on me, which was kind of interesting, or they just kind of ignore you altogether. And I think this one is the biggest one. And it's the fact that this game is incredibly difficult. The brutality in which the bosses will beat you down is insane. It took me 10 times to beat the first boss, and don't get me wrong, I had that Souls-like adrenaline running through me when I beat him, and it felt amazing. And I went on to level 2, where I found the minecart kind of level, and that was amazing, until I died halfway through there, and I died again. Game over. I had to restart, and I restarted again at the very beginning of Act 1, Level 1. And that was my issue with the game. I feel like, I understand it's an arcade game, but I want to experience this entire game. So many of those arcade games, we never really finished all the way because we just weren't that good. Like, it's so difficult to basically beat a game without using one continue. And even at the arcades, you could pop in a quarter and start from where you died. And I think that's the issue, because I don't know if a lot of people are going to be good enough to basically not use a single continue to beat this entire game. And I would love to see the whole game. And I think in this day day and age where there's just so many games coming out, you kind of want to make it as accessible as you can. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think there should be an easy level or, anything like that. In fact, I think maybe you can make that the standard where you can continue from where you died. But then on like hard mode, there is no continue system. That's what I would do. I just think like that would really open the game up to a lot of people, and myself included, being somebody who really wants to experience further parts of the game, but I'm just not good enough to get that far. And like that's my biggest complaint with the game, and I see a little bit of like something they can do to maybe make that more accessible, more open, and I hope that's something easy they could do, because I think that would really help a lot. Anyway, that's my thoughts on GANRYU 2. I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to continue to keep playing it. Again, I have to thank Pixel Art, and I have to thank each and every one of you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. You guys do everything, but you have no idea how much you guys make my life so much better, and I wish and hope that you guys have wealth, health, and above all, I hope you're truly happy. I love you guys. I will see you later.